Just 1 week is left before we can get our Space Wolves army box in our hands. And I decided that this is a perfect opportunity for us to take a look at some older Battleforce for Space Wolves. This is the previous version of an army box, so to speak. It's not really an army box, so this is a Battleforce Talons of Morkai from 2019. And technically, there was another box with Space Wolves in between this one and the new army box, which was the Prophecy of the Wolf. But that one had orcs in it, and does not really count as a battle force or an army box, I believe. So this is the one that you could get before. It is fairly cool. It has a full squad of Primaris Intercessors, a Wolf Priest, these pals, and of course a flyer. We can rotate it over here and see what's inside. Yes, the Iron Priest. It's not a Wolf Priest, this is an Iron Priest. I keep mixing them up. A squad of Wulfen, Space Wolf Intercessors. These are the old Intercessors. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get an upgrade sprue in this box, because I can see some weapons that are for the upgrade sprue. And this hat is also from the upgrade sprue, as are these shoulder pads. And of course, a Stormwolf, a huge flyer, which I'm not entirely sure if people are still using, because rumor has it Games Workshop tries to remove flyers from the game, or at least decrease their importance. And this box, of course, was got by me secondhand. This is from 2019, and some people purchased it a long time ago. And I was able to obtain it fairly recently. I didn't open it just yet. I know that this box was opened before by the person who was selling it, and we shall see if everything is inside of it as it should. So let's go ahead and open it. What do we get here? Let's take a look. First of all, we get 2 upgrade sprues. These upgrade sprues seem to be untouched. Everything that should be here is here. We have already seen these upgrade sprues when we were making Space Wolves Deathwatch characters on this channel before. Looking very, very nice, so we got 2 of them in this box. We get the Iron Wolf. This pal seemingly is a firstborn Space Marine, judging by the proportions of this miniature. He looks very, very cool. I'm really curious if I will be able to make some sort of a Primaris Space Marine out of it, but it seems like that he has so many things on his torso, and he has a very elaborate torso over here, that this task might be a bit challenging, but we shall see about that. So this is the Iron Priest. This is a stand for a flyer. Fairly standard stand, very heavy duty. And this is parts of the Stormwolf. I myself not a huge fan of this flyer, because I think it looks a bit funky, but it definitely has some really cool decorations. I really like this wolf heads over here, some Norse symbology on the decoration parts of the miniature, all sorts of decorations here, Space Wolves, looking very, very nice. So this is first sprue. This is a second sprue, also very, very ornate. Look at this wolf head, looking very, very nice. We have a pilot part over here, some sort of runes, very, very nice. This actually looks way cooler than I anticipated in the beginning. Alright, this is the cockpit glass, looking fairly fine. And this is the body of the flyer, with more decorations over here. Look at these decorations, wow. Wow, look at this, guys, look at this. This is unbelievable. Very, very nice. So 3 sprues for the Stormwolf. What else do we have? This looks like a generic Primaris Space Marine sprue. We have seen a lot of them before. They are fairly standard. You can build 5 of the pals from one, and then you have another 5 on the second one. These are fairly standard Space Marines with very, very standard heads. Not really Space Wolfy heads, as you can see over here. That is why we have upgrade sprues. So 2 sprues of the Primaris Intercessors. And of course, these look like the Wulfen. Very, very nice sets of miniatures. These Wulfen pals must be fairly old. Let's see which year it is. It says 2016, which makes it pre-Primaris Space Marines. They have a lot of really cool looking beats. So I am a bit torn. I'm not a huge fan of Wulfen and the way they look. I think they look quite weird. But they do have a lot of really cool weapons options. For example, this hammer or this axe. This is actually amazing, my friends. Or for example, this axe. The problem here is that they have hands here, so I will have to do something about that. It is always possible to cut the hands off and then try to add a hands from Space Marine from another weapon and have a fancy axe or a hammer. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure this is the way to go with these ones. Yeah, we shall see. I'm not entirely sure how to use them just yet. So this is the first sprue. And seemingly they have another one over here. Have really beautiful shields. Very, very ornate and very, very firstborn. This is also the sprue from 2016, obviously. All sorts of decorations, spells, mutated flesh, weapons, more axes. Very, very nice. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what can be done from this nice kit. So it's a lot of plastic over here, my friends. It's actually quite hefty. Look at all this. Wow. This box delivers. Then we have a bunch of 32mm bases. This is for the Intercessors. This one is presumably for the Iron Priest. The Wulfen seemingly are using the 40mm bases, which is quite interesting. And of course, we have this oval-shaped base for the flyer. Very, very standard oval base. We also get a Space Wolves transfer sheet. This is the new one from 2017. Actually, I'm not entirely sure now if this is the Primaris one. Yeah, it should be the Primaris one because we have Primaris Space Marines here. So this is a Primaris Space Wolves transfer. These are the transfers for the Stormwolf, which we can apply to the flyer. Of course, we have some instructions. This is Space Wolves Iron Priest. This is how you build the Iron Priest. The Iron Priest instructions are from 2015 even, so this is seemingly at least 2 years before the Primaris Space Marines. Very interesting. Now I think that we're gonna build this spell on the channel. Of course, the instruction set for Space Wolves Primaris Intercessors, which are really standard Primaris Intercessors. I recognize these instructions. They look very, very standard. We have seen them before. This is how you use the beats from the upgrade sprue. They actually have this spell with the beats from the upgrade sprue, and they give you some head options and whatnot. And this is how you decorate your miniatures. Yeah, so this instruction set is optimized for the Space Wolves Intercessors. Yet again, just a reminder, these are the standard Primaris Intercessors with Space Wolves upgrade sprue. The Primaris Space Marines that we're gonna get in the new Space Wolves army box are gonna be different. They're gonna be Space Wolves decorated already on the sprue without any sort of upgrade sprue, which is really, really, really nice. So this is basically standard Intercessors with an upgrade sprue. Wulfen with pack leader and just Wulfen miniatures, so apparently you can assemble them in 2 ways. These instructions tell you that they are fairly old because they're black and white. It's a lot of really cool minis there. We can see lots of weapons options. Yeah, this looks like a gold mine for kit bashing, to be honest. Very, very interesting kits. It's a shame I don't like how they look like out of the box. Maybe we actually should build some of them and see how it goes. I don't know. I don't know just yet. So the Wulfen. And of course, the Stormfang gunship. Okay, so you can build both of them from this kit. So the gunship actually has a gun here, and this one is actually for the troops, seemingly. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about that. We have a top of the Space Marine. Looking very funny. This is how you build the gunship. Alright. It reminds me of the Deathwatch flyer and the Aquila flyer from the 30k that we have built on this channel before. It's actually quite large, and yeah, these are the rules for the game. And this is how you build a Stormwolf. Okay, so before there was a variation with the gun. So this is the troop carrier. Very interesting. Alright, and this is how you decorate. So you can add some pelts and whatnot. This is actually quite interesting how you can use pelts outside of the flyer. Alright, couple of thoughts about this box. This box was very cool 6 years ago or 5 years ago and was released. It had a lot of fun stuff here, and I'm pretty sure it was very good MSRP. You could buy it with a good discount. I also bought it with a discount, so I paid less for this box than for all the contents of the box, and I'm quite proud of that. But these boxes are quite rare by now, and there is a reason. You don't really need them, because this thing seemingly is about to be phased out from the game, sooner or later at least, according to rumors. I don't know myself, just telling you what I heard online. This pal is a firstborn Space Marine. These pals are old too. I would not be surprised to see if the Wulfen are gonna get an upgrade of some sort. And of course, these pals are replaced by Primaris Space Marines for the Space Wolves. There are Primaris Space Marines Grey Hunters and whatnot that are basically replacing these pals. So this box is almost obsolete by now. It does have a lot of cool minis, and we even gonna build some of them. But I don't think it is a good purchase unless you're really into older Space Marines and firstborn Space Marines. Saying all that, I'm really looking into the new army box. I was able to get army box for the Space Wolves, the new one. It seems like that Games Workshop made a lot of them. We are going to open the army box hopefully in a week. And that is gonna be it for today, my friends. Let me know in the comments below if you have purchased this box. Did you like the content? Did you use the Stormwolf? Let me know. As always, if you like this video, like and subscribe in order to get more content like this. Yet again, as I already said, we're gonna have a Space Wolves army box opened next Saturday. So stay tuned for that. Check out the video that you see now on your screen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.